Storytelling is woven into the fabric of who we are. We all tell stories and listen to stories and are ultimately part of the biggest story ever told, life itself. So knowing the stories of the culture and place I live in is crucial for me. I've lived here on Maui for years now. My wife grew up here and my kids were born here. I've gotten the honor and pleasure of listening to and sharing many different stories on this island. So to better understand this place I now call home, I wanted to reach out to 3 people that I knew and respected that would be able to better answer this question, honestly, personally, and humbly. What does it really mean to be Hawaiian?
Hawaiian proverbs, olelo no eau, probably a good way to start off. So what it means to be Hawaiian from a historical perspective, in my view, is this idea of the olelo no eau, he li'i ka aina, he kaua ke kanaka. The land is the chief and we are the servants. To be Hawaiian means that your identity is linked to your aina. Most of the time, your aina mo'oku au hau, so you have this deep affection, deep love of where you live and where your ancestors come from. It traces back to the first people to get on that first va, that first canoe, and voyaging out. And that's where the kaia'ulu formed, the community formed. One of the most enjoyable things that I do is to try and share the history of the land, and to also understand that, you have to be humble about that. What you know about the history of that land is just a tiny percentage of what it was, but you have to learn it, you have to dig in, you have to really, in that sense, you have to hulina lima ika lepo, you have to get your hands into the dirt. And so we have to understand not only the good things that have happened, but also some of the challenges, because we learn from those challenges. So I would encourage anybody who is coming here, even if you're just here for a few days, learn the history of the land. And I think if you come here, it's not just a tourist utopia or dystopia, as some people would describe it. It's not just a tourist utopia, it's also our home. And we have ancestral connections here that go back generations after generations, and many people feel a deep attachment to that.
What it means to be Hawaiian in this given time, to me, is how to navigate and find ways that our ohana, our community, our lahui can once again thrive and not just survive. And I think for me as a Hawaiian, we do it best through the cultivation of food. As a mahi'ai Hawaii, as a Hawaiian farmer, it's about how to cultivate food and how to do things collectively. It's this idea of approaching food systems, knowing the health benefits of not just eating the food, but it's the way in which you maintain your beliefs, your practices, your well-being, your mauliola as you farm. And so, our mission here is Iola Mau Kamahi'ai Ku'una, which is, perpetuating the traditional practices of being a mahi'ai kalo. It requires us to work collectively and cohesively with those that live above, below, and to the side of us. It's the water that we drink, the water that we bathe, the water that cultivates our food is the same water that cultivated these lands for generations. And so this Vaiakane has a genealogy, and that genealogy is tied into those of us who are kupa of this place, who are kama'aina. And I don't like how that word kama'aina is used loosely today, whether it's for politics or whether it's for when you go shopping. Really, kama'aina is one who is not just familiar with the land, but committed, dedicated of the land.
I've been a kumuhula now for 20 years. I don't take that lightly. I take that very seriously because it is the kuleana that was placed upon me that came from my kupuna, and now it's up to me to be able to foster the rich traditions of my hula experience to my students, my homana, and to also make sure that our kamali'i, our children that are coming up, generations to come, have those same principles of understanding in hula, and that I am one of many to help foster these rich traditions. One of the biggest components as being Hawaiian is what we know as aloha. And aloha, as many know and understand it, to refer to love, the English translation. But more specifically, I think one of our treasured kupuna, her name is Pilahi Paki, she did a beautiful job at breaking aloha down in each letter. Each of these letters represented a particular ano, or a particular characteristic. The first one being ahonui, and ahonui translates as kindness. The second one being lokahi, so that of being unified, trying to be as one, yeah? The third letter stands for olu olu, and olu olu is someone that's pleasant or easy to be around. So, you know, within the context of aloha, we're always as a people trying to make people feel comfortable. If they're away from far across the world and they come to Hawaii, we want someone to feel like this place accepts them and honors them for who they are. H, ha'a, ha'a. So as a people, humility is a really important factor for us. Respect for one another, respect for oneself also. And then the last A is ahonui. And ahonui is that of perseverance. So if you can be patient and know that in the long run, the importance of something might not be right in front of you at this moment, but if you have patience and perseverance, it will come to you in time. So aloha.
Our way of life here in Hawaii, from a Hawaiian perspective, centers a lot around responsibility and respect. And those that have just moved here and made Maui and Hawaii their home for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 30 years, or even those that are visiting, need to be cognizant, not just of, okay, yeah, there's a host culture here, but that their impact to this place, whether it is in their little bubble of a hotel and the beach that they're drinking their Mai Tais on, or whether it is, you know, driving to Hana, all of those things have impacts to our natural and cultural resources. It's about demonstrating that overall sense of respect and aloha and responsibility to wherever it is that you go. I see the same thing, what I'm saying to you, but also to local people, because, you know, I think it's important for us to carry those values wherever it is that we go throughout the world, because there's always a host culture, whether we're going to California, New York, to India, to China, to Japan, wherever. There are people of that place, and they care just as much of their home as we do as ours. And so if we want people to treat our aina and our culture and our natural and cultural resources with the respect and responsibility that they deserve, then we also have to be cognizant and be a model for that whenever we traverse other places across the honua, across the world.